Live.
Okay, we're going live. Mein
Lieben. Okay. I feel like my mic settings are all screwed up again.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't
you and your
know.
mic settings are always too
They really
low.
are. Okay.
You.
So, no, I think they're too high.
Now you've
this
just
time.
lowered your audio. I can tell.
I have.
Either that, you're far too far away from the microphone.
I lowered it because I was like peaking on OBS. So
you're super quiet on my end, so I don't know why.
Bruh, I'm not even subbed. What's up, XD33?
Bruh.
Maybe you should be. Wallace or Vivalis. Welcome. Welcome
to this cluster that is the podcast. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, Caleb, you definitely need to bump up your man.
Fine, but OBS was so loud.
OBS also just over.
What? You were breaking up.
I'm breaking up. Oh,
you were.
It's probably because of and that's probably because of my God. We're just not with it today.
What's up, Wallace? Yeah, so Josh isn't with us today, and of course everything is Josh isn't with us today, so of course everything's falling apart. When I'm left at the helm and I'm like trying to do 12 things at once, it's not good. But we'll get started.
Tells me anything.
We'll get started. I'm glad we're at least live. We got a couple of people here. Aw, X, thanks. Wait, he says, wait, is this channel good? Damn, thanks, YouTube. Thanks, YouTube.
Oh, thanks, X. Appreciate that.
All right.
No, that's actually a thing that, like, apparently we've been getting our videos like, wait, why did I get this? So I'm not even subscribed to you guys. And I'm like,
I don't know. I'm wondering if that's actually what's happening or if it's just like a running joke that people are doing. Either way, we're happy to have you.
Yeah,
and if my mic is like peaking, Caleb, let me know. I'm not sure. I'm getting mixed signals.
I'm listening to the audio right now. We sound fine.
Oh, okay, good. I like that.
This is how it's supposed to normally sound.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a joke, fam. Happy to watch.
Bump it up more. It's like,
thanks.
Just bump it up more. It's fine.
All right. All right. So let's get this show on the road. So welcome. We got our trusty fan. Got our trusty fan Wallace and X. Welcome to the show. This is our weekly random respawn. Yeah, your audio is lagging for me a little bit, Marshall. I'm hoping it'll stabilize once the stream gets. It's definitely going to be on my end, Wallace, because I'm sure it's just like something with my connection. Anyway, this is our weekly podcast. Normally we would have at least one other with Vijosh Raptor or underscore. Last week you got spoiled. You got all four of us. This week we're down to bare bones. It's just me and Marshall.
We are these. So.
Yeah. Oh, it is definitely breaking up a lot. I don't know why. There's not really anything else that I can quit.
You sound very chaotic right on your end.
Yeah, you're breaking up for me a lot. God, I gotta try to fix this. Hold on.
Yeah, that's and
yeah, it is. Just trying to figure out how to fix it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize.
Difficulties. Folks.
One moment.
Again, when I'm supposed to be the one leading, things get weird. We'll get there. We're up.
I didn't really catch most of that. That was pretty. Yep. Hey Josh, how you doing? Okay. Yeah, I know. I'm assuming that's on Caleb's end, Josh. I think his internet's being a little derpy. I'm not too sure what else it could be.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, I know. Oh, This is gonna be a bad audio. Oh, hold on. Speaking of, don't forget to record in Audacity, Caleb. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Had forgotten that, so thank you. Thank you. Yeah, OBS should be so I'm got a green light from my streaming software, which is a good first step. That, so thank you.
Ah!
Thank you. No. Mute. Mute. Okay. Oh my god.
Oh, what? Were you hearing the things?
Yes. Everything that could possibly go wrong. I leave for one day and you fuck everything up. Yes, Josh, that is exactly.
Yep, he did. Also, he says to check Slack, so let me just
I
double check
closed
to see if
Slack. I closed everything that consumes any resources.
Oh my god, maybe it's just you need a new computer and stuff.
I just. Oh god. Okay.
What are we even talking about today? I actually don't remember.
It seems relatively stable. I think we're good.
Yes, I'm hearing you no problem right now.
I think we're
that's good. If I can hear you, then chances are everyone can hear you.
Okay. I think we're there. Somehow.
Everyone take a deep breath and then exhale and let us continue on with the podcast.
Oh,
yes. Okay. That sounds like a great idea.
Okay.
So Caleb, what exactly are we talking about today?
Okay. So, what we are talking about today is bias in video game reviews. Do you think that certain game franchises get unfairly praised due to brand recognition, or nostalgia, or other kinds of biases? And I was thinking about it, and on the flip side of it, are there games that are maybe criminally underrated or get a little too much hate for being a good game that's in a bad series, or perhaps is on the wrong system, or it is even just the wrong series? And I have a couple of examples that I can go through on that. And yeah, then the on the too much love side, more positive reviews than they deserve. This is kind of the AAA bias is what I called it when I was writing down some thoughts. So games that get a positive rating or much more positive rating than they really deserve, and if they hadn't been that AAA title, they would have just been shredded, So
do we want to get the super obvious one out of the way and say Call of Duty?
Yeah, well, that's what I wrote down, like Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed,
that's
all
pretty
of
much
those.
The one. Yeah.
What I thought would be fun, and with the way my setup is working now, I think I'll still be able to do it. I won't see chat quite as quickly, but I'll get back to it. But I thought it might be fun to pick a couple of games and actually look at the review ratings on a couple different sites, just to kind of view the results of some games that we feel might have been rated too highly, just to actually see, so to actually kind of get some data while we're doing our little talk.
Good old data's fine. Are we going to be using Metacritic for that information in terms of points?
Yeah, so I figured I'd pick a couple different ones. So I have IGN and Game Informer, Metacritic because it has the critics and the user score, and then I've also got Steam just because it has the user score. I don't really frequent a lot of review sites, so I couldn't think of any that have good like user ratings, kind of like the Rotten Tomato thing where you can see what the critics think and you can see what the users think, just to get some differences. But those are the four that I have, so I figure we can do there. Wallace says an example of a game for a wrong system is Harvest Moon. That's an old school game.
I was about to say, if I remember correctly, it not scoring well back in the day because that genre that's like the only game besides, what was the game that came out in Steam and then also just came out for the Switch? I've completely forgotten it now. That's basically like a 2D version of it. But it's like a mellow farming simulator almost, not even really. It's like,
what is that game?
Stardew Valley.
Stardew.
Thank you.
I knew it was Star something.
Yeah, the fact you said Star was enough for me to just remember it. Yeah, but I think that was like I don't remember it doing very well, but it was always a success, I believe, simply because it was the first of its kind, and
Mm-hmm.
there was really nothing that ever did that ever. And now, when that came out, did fairly use and all that stuff simply because like it became an actual genre that people understood what it was and who it was for and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't ever play Harvest Moon. Wasn't that a Super Nintendo game?
That was a yes. That started on the Nintendo systems. I think that started as a Super Nintendo, and I do remember there being Harvest Moon 64 for the N64.
I didn't see. I
I
didn't.
I don't recall if there ever was one for the GameCube.
Maybe that was
I believe
Super Harvest Moon
yeah,
too. Maybe that was the first one. I
yeah.
don't know what the first Harvest Moon game was. X says, "Oh, it's XD. I get it. Oh my
I
god,
was
that
about
took
to
me
say
way too
I'm
long.
surprised it took you that
That
long to
took
figure
me
that out.
so
It's
long.
XD,
It's
yeah.
been a long day. I love it. Plenty of Sonic games get way too bad of a reputation just because it's the brand. Sonic has never been good, and it's silly to be honest. That's a very good point.
It depends on the
There,
game though.
there
Like
have been some legitimately
old
terrible,
Sonic
but
is totally fine. Not really my cup of tea because for me, I consider it like a platformer that wants to go really fast. But if you try and go really fast, a lot of the time you get hurt. It's like it just defeats the purpose for me. But like the 3D games, like Sonic Boom was one of the more recent ones in the past couple years. I think that came out for the Wii U. Sonic Colors wasn't that not nearly as bad. It still kind of got a bad rep, but apparently it was a very competent game. But Sonic Boom, woof, that game had some bad bugs and frame rate issues and all that jazz.
oh, excuse me. What was the other
Sonic
one of
games
the?
are very much a hit or miss.
There was a more recent Sonic game also that had like you could play the new stuff or like the
You can
classic
create
levels.
your own character. That yeah, I heard that wasn't that great either. It's man, Sonic. That is. Was it Sonic Mania?
It was Mania.
Or no,
Okay,
no. I thought
Mania
Sonic
was
Mania was
good.
the new. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the new 2D one. Oh, Sonic Forces. Thank you, Josh. That was the one where it's like you can create your own character, and it's like they were only for a couple of missions, and yeah,
Okay.
that's Sonic as a series and as just a mascot and just everything. I I don't know. I never thought that Sonic really transitioned super well into 3D. I don't know. But Sonic Mania was incredibly good from what I heard. I still need to go play it.
So
Um
let me look.
like yeah.
What were the Sonic Mania reviews? And I hope doing something on my computer doesn't cause the whole stream. Oh god, it does. My my computer is like gonna catch
Oh my
fire.
god. Where's talking stuff? Uh, Sonic Mania. Well, yeah, Sonic Mania. Overall 86% on Metacritic. User score 8.9. Super well. And then if we compare to Sonic Forces, I cannot wait. Oh yeah, that's gonna be like in the 60s and 50s, and
What was the user
the
score
score
for that one?
of Sonic Mania 8.9.
8.9.
Metascore for Sonic Forces is a 57, and the user score of 7.1. Which yeah, there are always the diehard Sonic fans who are like they're all great, and I'm like
I mean,
no.
maybe it wasn't really that bad.
It's just again, it's debatable.
If I look at Steam, it says recent reviews, of which there are 76, it has a mixed rating. And if I look at all reviews, it's mostly positive, and there's 2,100.
I would actually be very curious to know how many of them are actually joke reviews
Are
that
real
are positive
reviews?
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Steam reviews is
It's like
hard to
it's
judge,
like
but
Three Wolf Moon on Amazon if you get that shirt. It's
yeah,
like one of the highest rated things because Three Wolf Moon.
that's true. It is hard to tell, but still interesting. So another game that I thought of, and since Josh is here, I'm going to bring it up right now. Games that give probably have more positive reviews than they deserve. So we said, all of the Assassin's Creed games, all of the Call of Duty games.
Actually,
Um,
before you continue, I gotta cut you off there. The first Assassin's Creed did not score well. I
well,
distinctly remember that
good.
being in like the 7.6 range. It was
Well,
only after that
seven
that it
six. I
became
mean,
like,
that's
"Oh,
still.
yeah, it's a great game."
I mean, that's still pretty good.
Well, I mean, in our review standards, a 6 or a 7 is not really that great. Remember, we don't use the full 1 to 10 range for some stupid reason, and that's why every game is like an 8 or a 7 or a 9, you know? It's very rare that you end up having a, quote, "good game" that scores like a 5, which, again, doesn't make sense because that should technically be average. It should be an average game,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, that's true. I guess the whole ratings and everything, rating scales, and there's lots of meat to the game reviews topic, and I'm
Yeah.
pretty passionate about a lot of that because I think that they do a lot more harm than good. But anyway,
Yeah.
um, Ghost Recon Wildlands was one. Like, what
I
was
didn't
the?
think that game
Look it up on Metacritic because if I do,
Go
you're gonna go
Ghost
robot.
Recon Wildlands got a Metacritic rating of
Of what you cut out right at the
7.1.
se-
That's why I distinctly remember come out was eh.
seven point
Apparently
one.
they've been adding more to it, but like again, eh.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was worth a 7. Like, it was not good. It's not good at all.
Nope.
Another one is what are the ratings for? So look at the BioShock franchise. I want to talk about that one because I've been playing a lot of Prey, and Prey
Right.
is another one I want you to look at too. But it's kind of in the other boat. I don't think it did very well.
Um Rating on Metacritic was a overall 79
For which Prey
for Prey, for the new Prey, and a user
79.
score rating of a 7.8.
Prey was good. Prey is good. I think it's really good.
I think well, the thing is with that game, I don't think they did enough marketing for that game, and also they used the brand name for something that everyone was really hoping would still be a thing. You know, awesome space cop bounty hunter, which sounds really awesome on paper, and then they turn it into like a pseudo BioShock survival horror, and it's like, eh.
Yeah, I agree, and
But
so
the game itself, like, it's totally great. Yeah, like
that's why I
I
put down like it's a good game, but it's maybe shouldn't have been called what it was. Maybe shouldn't have been included in the
Mhm.
series. And I always wondered why they kept the name Prey when it was. I mean, it's a pretty large departure from the first game, and I guess
Oh, it's
that
completely different. It's
yeah. So I don't
completely different in style.
right. So I don't know why I don't know why it kept the name Prey because it's not like that original game even had a lot of clout or did really well. There wasn't really a whole lot of brand recognition for the original Prey. That was kind of a cult classic, if cult
Mhm.
cult
So
something. Maybe not classic,
you
but
want a hold on before every time I freaking open up Metacritic to see a game, like it'll show me the trailer and it's blaring into my headphones and it drives me nuts. Um,
oh,
but a game I wanted to actually bring up now that I think about it, a game that got critically praised
uh-huh.
by critics, and a lot of the community were like, not really. Remember DMC Devil May Cry?
I had that written down. Yeah.
I was about to say,
But
because
see,
yeah, on Metacritic, it's got a low 80s at an 83, but the user score is like 7.4.
see
And I remember it earlier back in the day, that score was actually worse, but I
and
can
see that's
imagine like,
crazy to me that that game scored higher than Prey. And however,
but
I I did like DMC though. That's where I kind of differ from a
it's
lot
a
of the
competent game,
it's
but
good, but it
again,
shouldn't have been called Devil May
that
Cry.
game has gone well, actually, remember, this is I'm also looking at DMC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition. This is the version of the game that, completely changed mechanics. Because remember,
Oh yeah.
back when that game first came out, you had 2 different colors, the red guys and the blue guys,
Right.
and you had to use the specific weapons
Right.
to hit them with, and if you use the wrong one, you'd literally end your combo and completely stifle the gameplay flow of it,
Yeah.
which, for a Devil May Cry game, that doesn't make any damn sense. The whole point of Devil May Cry is to be super flamboyantly bombastic with your combos to do
Flamboyant.
crazy stuff instead of you have to hit the red guy with this. If you don't, you're doing it wrong. It's like when they
Yeah.
completely got rid of all that. But I think a lot of the critics defended it and all that. It's like gamers are just entitled. Yep, that part that point in our history was the gamers are entitled thing that was
Uh,
going around for a good while, and that was like the start of it. That and I think Mass Effect 3. Um, I think also that game. Hold on, while I'm on the subject of that game, I think that was also praised well. While user reviews, not super great. Mass
hmm.
Effect 3.
I
Mass
actually
Effect
like.
3
I
is
actually
it
kind of liked the red and blue enemy mechanics because I never played the new version of DMC. I just played the original, um, and it was. I don't know. I liked the concept anyway. Maybe the implementation could have been done better, but I liked at least the concept because it made combat that normally is 100% doable, like button mashy style, just not really caring about what's going on and just slashing away. It made you have to think about it and have to use some of the other weapons because you couldn't hit a certain enemy with a certain type of move. So I kind
And
of
I was
liked that.
okay with, but at the same time, I was okay with it. The fact that they just kept doing it over and over again, it's like, okay, now it's getting kind of, because I want to do cool shit,
Yeah,
and it's the game's not letting me.
that's true.
Like, if that was did the game, sure, totally, like, but the fact that they just that was, like, a major thing that you had to deal with for the rest of the game,
Yeah,
was the fact that with the definitive edition, they got rid of it because it's like, okay, everyone didn't really like this at all.
yeah.
Um,
I
Now,
I guess I
as for
just
Mass
I
Effect 3,
oh yeah. Go ahead.
sorry, um, I was gonna say for Mass Effect, I don't mean to jump the gun, but, for again, highly praised by critics at a meta score average of 89,
Mhm.
user score of 5.7.
Yeah, was this was this
This was the one with choose your ending, red, green, or blue.
oh,
That
this
was the
was
one.
3, ME 3. Okay.
Mass Effect 3.
What about Mass Effect Awful?
Andromeda? No, 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 that got banned super hard. It's like in this, like, holy, just Mass Effect. Yeah, Mass Effect Andromeda Metacritic score 71, and I'm assuming, just not even looking at the user score, it's probably gonna be way worse.
Oh yeah, I mean the
That
game
that
is
game was that
horrible.
game was a dumpster fire, like
So bad.
horrible.
But what's interesting about that though is it's like the fact that it even got released and made sales and had anything going for it comes down a lot to brand recognition because there's so many people who love the Mass Effect
Oh yeah,
series and wanted Mass Effect to be a thing and were disappointed with Mass Effect 3's ending, so you wanted more out of Mass Effect Andromeda, and it had the brand, and so it brought in a bunch of people, and it was completely undeserved. Completely.
robotic connection,
No, yeah.
Caleb.
I'm here. Can you hear me? Hello?
Oh God, did I just lose you?
No, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh no.
Am I talking awful?
No.
Uh,
Why is my computer catching fire?
I might.
What's
Yep.
happening?
Wallace is saying it's broken.
Oh god. Oh god. Okay. Is it better? Can you hear me?
I think it is.
Maybe?
Yep, I can hear you now. Okay, we're good. Oh
Okay.
God.
All right.
Oh,
XD also brought up a
okay.
good point.
Okay.
I
Cool.
think Mario and Rabbids were overhyped for what it is. I'm assuming you're talking about the Mario Rabbids game that just came out recently.
The
Um,
the XCOM, I assume as much.
XCOM,
That's
yeah.
yeah. Um, that one is weird.
Josh
I
played it,
don't
and
know
I
what
think
to make of
Josh
that
liked
game
it.
at all.
I
Yeah,
haven't
Josh
played
said
it.
he,
I don't.
he totally loved it. Which is interesting because I think he might. I don't know if he ever did play XCOM or the more recent XCOM 2.
I think he played the original XCOM.
Yeah, it sounds about right. Um, But yeah, that game, I maybe it's because a lot of people didn't really know what the game was, and for a lot of people, they never played. This is completely different than what we're used to. So yeah, that style of game is certainly not everyone's cup of tea. Definitely, that's like for a lot of people, for instance, with like Brutal Legend when that came out, people
Ah,
were expecting it to be like an open world,
yeah, and then it was a
like
it
hack
was
and
a
slash,
sneaky
and
RTS game.
then they threw in an RTS at the during all the major fights. It's like, what? Where did
Yeah,
this come from?
yeah, that game was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's a third-person hack and slash adventure game. Wait, it's an RTS game in disguise.
Oh shit.
It was,
No, this is terrible.
yeah, that was,
Yeah, I think that the game because of that.
yeah, that
Um,
game didn't, it didn't do super well, unfortunately.
I do DMC Devil May Cry though. I actually found the original version of that.
Hmm.
Metacritic meta score for that was actually higher than the, the but the user score was actually even worse than
Wow. So it was even
well,
higher, the original critic, and the user score was even worse than on the original
yes.
version? Wow.
Well, yeah, okay. Back in the day, everyone was hoping for a new Devil May Cry after Devil May Cry 4. They were
Well, that's true.
expecting Devil May Cry 5. And so when this came, who's this asshole? It's like, no, it's not. It's some freaking and then the head to meme and I can never pronounce his last name correctly. And apparently Sony didn't during their press conference of unveiling the PS4, which was hilarious. They misspelled his name.
I didn't even see
Wait,
that.
ooh, God, and he had his head shaved and all. Just I think a couple years, not too long after DMC Devil May Cry came out. But to meme the entire time was like saying, "No, all the fans don't know what they're talking about. I know what I'm talking about." It's like, "Oh, buddy, no, stop it. You're digging yourself a hole."
Yeah.
And the more that spread, the more everyone's like, "Yeah, nah, I'm good. I don't need to play this." And then from what everyone was playing was like, it's kind of shallow. You can break it super easy. 30 frame. And also remember, consoles when that came out, it was which when playing Devil May Cry back in the day was at 60, especially with Devil May Cry 4, which ran on the engine, which I always to this day say it ran on unicorns and magic because of how crazy that engine was. And it was at 60 frames. Otherwise, that game looked amazing. Um, but unfortunately, the game started to play it over again twice. Um, Once is Nero, then all. Anywho, with DMC Devil May Cry, it's just like everyone was like, "This isn't what we wanted at all." But to me, and the critics were like, "No, this is the game that you should love." It's like, no, why are you saying that? Stop that. And so that was that huge divide, and again, entitled gamers started then, and which again,
Yeah.
Mass Effect 3, and has kind of continued ever since. I think. I don't know.
So
Maybe that's
that's
just
the
me.
first like really clear example of a divergence in reviews from what we've just like been casually looking up. Is DMC?
That was definitely a big one.
Yeah,
They were
the
huge in divergence.
the new Crash Bandicoot release. Did that do well critically?
I believe so. Crash
I
Bandicoot.
I think it's the Insane trilogy. I thought I remembered that
Yes,
it was getting
that got a score of 80,
oh,
which
okay.
totally fine, nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
It was all of them, and then user reviews gave it an 8.7
Yeah, I
on
mean it was super
average.
good. I thought I remembered reading some stuff
Yeah.
about like it was too hard or something like that, and so I was gonna go on this whole long rant.
That's just the
But
press being a bunch of whiny. Like, come on. This is basically the exact same games
yeah,
that
it's the
came out
original like PlayStation game, so it was gonna be kind
again.
of like janky controls and
Most fun little fact, Caleb. Most and all that stuff. Klepek of Kotaku.
oh god.
Also, he moved to Giant Bomb, then went back to Kotaku. He only started games in 2007, right around the time we were all in college, and the Xbox 360 and PS3 were in full swing, and the was it the Wii at that? that was the huge wave of everyone coming in. So you had a lot of people who never played video games in their life starting like, oh, yeah, video games are fun, totally. And so that, over time became everything got a little bit easier over time. And so when Crash came out, all the critics are like, this is too hard. And it's not. Stop it. It was a difficult game, but like you could beat it. Just don't
Mm,
be bad. Stop being bad. Don't
right.
do it.
Josh also brought up the new Metal Gear Survive game is getting banned by gamers because it's not a Kojima Metal Gear game. Um, I haven't played it or even really seen anything about it, so I don't know if that's unjust or not. I would say that feeling is definitely there though, because I do feel that where it's like, oh, it's not Kojima Metal Gear, it's not worth playing. Like it's not
It
even
seems
it's
like a hollow cash grab using the name.
yeah,
And
it's one where like I definitely
yeah,
feel it, and I don't know if it's real. It's a bias that I
there's
feel for the game
there
without.
is always online DRM in that game where if you are out in the world getting stuff and you lose connection, you lose all that progress up to the point you left your base. And that's been a problem for a lot of people where they lose
Mm,
connection for a split second. And it's like, oh, you lost everything. All that time you're out there. Sorry.
everything.
There's
Oh wow,
that.
that sucks.
Yep. You transactions in that game. And it's like base management, but it just feels like a super just from the surface looking down on it. I really don't know the specifics, but to me, as someone who never really like saw much about it, it just looks like an over glorified like Ville in a way where it's like you manage your base, you get the stuff, and then that's it,
I
and
mean,
then
there was
you go
base
do things.
management in Metal Gear Solid 5 though.
But there was still a whole game and open world and crap. Like I have no idea if there even is like an open world to this. Like I have no idea.
Hmm.
I mean, it just kind of showed up out of nowhere. There really wasn't a whole lot, I guess, to it in terms of explaining what you do besides you gather materials and you defend your base,
Yeah.
which is like, I guess, yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah, it might have just been a fleshed out concept of what they were doing in Metal Gear 5. I personally hated the base building shit in Metal Gear Solid 5. It made me angry. I liked parts of it, but I didn't like a lot of
I
the
didn't like the wait 3 days thing. That seemed a little weird. Or
so
like, okay,
excessive.
wait, maybe it wasn't that bad, but like still at the same time, it's like this isn't Warframe where it's free to play and you can just go away. Like this is like, no, I want to keep playing the story, but I need this stuff to continue playing the story.
And a lot of it
Like
was
why are you making
in-game
me wait
time
12,
too.
12 hours to complete the story?
And
Like,
it was like in-game time stuff too. So it wasn't just like you could start building it
oh, that's right.
and then
Yeah.
just like leave the game and go to work and then come back and keep playing. You had to leave the game open and running, and then later
Yeah,
on
there
like
were some
random
stuff that
stuff
you
can
needed to.
happen. And
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't like that at
I
all.
remember those things bad, the like in-game time waiting, like 2 hours, 2 or 3. The stuff that you had to wait for, like while leaving the game off for hours a day. And it's like, hey, you want to research this rocket launcher? You kind of want? Yeah, you're gonna have to wait a while. It's like,
Yeah,
oh, come on, just let me play the game. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't I didn't like most of that for those reasons.
Hold on. Well, I'm actually curious to know how The Witcher 3 did. Okay. Metascore of Witcher 3 was a 92 on average, and user score is a 9.2 on average. So basically exactly the same.
Yeah,
Makes sense. Game was
that
game was a lot of fun. Super good. I need to go back
that
and
has
finish
gotten a
it.
lot of praise. And it is one of those where with Witcher, like if they were to come out with a Witcher 4, it would probably be sell really well. Whether or not it would end up being scored well, but it would definitely sell super well just because it was another Witcher game. Like they've
I
earned the
th-
brand.
I think they're honestly done with it.
Yeah,
I know right now they're in development of Cyberpunk 2077, which I'm super excited to know what they're doing with it. It's
might be
just
cool.
hopefully I hear something about it. Like, no joke, the first time I saw a trailer for it was back in 2012 or 2013.
Hmm.
school at the time. So it's been like 5 years since I saw that first trailer.
Yeah.
And that was mostly like, hey, we're making this and it's in concept right now. So hopefully we start seeing more stuff in like the near future. I mean, hopefully in the next year. Maybe, God forbid, E3 if we're lucky, but we'll see. Anywho,
Yeah.
going off topic. What else is there off your docket, good sir?
Well, another one I was thinking of that kind of got, and I don't know how well it did. I don't know about critically, but Castlevania Lords of Shadow, specifically the first one, but then the second one I don't think did super well either.
Vania Lords of Shadow. Okay, Lords of Shadow got on average. This is the original 2010 version.
Yeah.
85 on Metacritic.
Okay, that's pretty good.
User score of 8. So slightly off, but not too bad. So
That's actually higher than I thought. See, I don't read reviews, so I don't know how well things did.
What about the sequel?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. The sequel on average got roughly 6.63 Metascore, but the user score was about 7.8.
There we go.
Honestly, I agree with the user score more as someone who has actually played it and beat it.
Yeah, I haven't. I didn't quite finish it, but I liked it. I thought it was good.
Did you ever get to the part where you fought Belmont? Because that entire fight, like, is like, yeah, that whole game, like, that's it. Wrap it up. We're good. Like, actually, no, there was still some really good stuff afterwards, but like, just because I don't know if you're ever going to go back to it, but spoilers, everyone, if you want to go play Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2 right now. I can't remember who he is. He's a Belmont. He's the feud fight. And he's got like a robotic arm, or something like that. And he uses your entire move list from the first game. And he has all your special abilities from the first game. Remember the crystal that you broke in the first game that released the demon?
Yeah.
There's a whole thing that's a quick time event where the demon's released and then you kick the crap out of it.
Oh, wow.
They do some really cool stuff.
That's cool.
And it's like that fight was so easy for me because it's like, I know all these moves. Like, this is just like really what he's doing. I can counter this way. It's like, no, it's like that was super well done. It's way slower when he does it compared to how you played in the first game, but you know.
That's really cool. I didn't get to that part.
It was cool. The only issue that I remember having with that game was those stealth mission areas where you had to be sneaky or else the immortal
the
dudes
Arkham,
in the heavy armor with the automatic grenade launchers.
the like Arkham
apparently
sections.
Yeah, not even Arkham sections because you couldn't kill anything or else it would just immediately kill you. I always made the joke if the final boss Satan had that armor and grenade launcher, he would never lose just because of how powerful those things were.
Yeah, I remember you telling me something about that.
Those sections were such bullshit. That's why I hated it so much. But yeah, that I never had really major issues besides those sections, and they were few and far between. So like, and the fights in general, like you go back in the past, back towards the future, back and forth. Like they did a lot of cool stuff in that game, I think, including like some certain characters that I don't want to say out loud because there are even some things I don't even want to tell Caleb. It's like, go play it, Caleb. Go finish it right now. You can stream it. Seriously.
I will play it, and that's a good idea. I might do it on stream. I will do it on stream.
Do a stream of that. Yeah. After you beat Prey. I don't know if you beat Prey yet, but yeah,
I haven't beaten it yet. I haven't beaten it yet, and I'm really enjoying Prey. And I was thinking about even doing like not challenge runs necessarily, but like going for some of the achievements because some of the achievements are pretty tough.
What, wrench only?
I don't think there's a wrench only achievement, but there is a no mods achievement, and then there's a do one human only and do one alien only. So like alien only would actually be kind of tough too, I think, because some of the human stuff is really good. But anyway.
Oh yeah.
Well, so it turns out all of the ones that I thought were underrated actually weren't. So that's a miss on me. What about Arkham Knight?
Ooh, that's a really good one.
Now I know that one, like it had a lot of release problems, and so that's maybe a little harder to tell. And I was trying to figure out, like, with Battlefront as well, because I feel like the Battlefront 2 reviews that were coming out like before the game released were good, and then it came out and they realized everybody was in arms, and I feel like some of them changed, but I don't have anything concrete.
So here's the thing that bothers the hell out of me for Metacritic is each platform has a different rating to it. And so this is where it gets interesting for Batman, because on the consoles it's in the 80, it's like in the high 80s, and user score is like 10 points below that. So like for instance on PS4 it was an 87, but a user score 7.7. But then you get section, it paints an entirely different story, where a Metascore of 70 and a user score of 2.8.
2.8.
Remember, that game was busted on PC day one. Remember, optimization problems.
Day one, more like month 3, it was busted.
Actually, I don't think they ever fixed it properly. I'm not entirely sure.
It was such a bad release that it got taken down off of the Steam store.
Off Steam, that's right. It was so bad, and like delayed the DLC, and like, oh, it was awful. Which was hilarious for me because at that point, I believe I had my GTX 980. So I pretty much brute forced through the optimization issues. Like I turned off one thing and then that was it. That was the only problem I had.
I didn't really have problems either, and I don't have an amazing system.
I don't remember you using playing on higher settings though. That's the thing.
I've turned
if you tried to play it on certain on some settings, like the FPS would just absolutely tank. Specifically a lot of like NVIDIA specific like volumetric clouds and stuff like completely killed the frame rate. So if you just turn that thing off, like you would still have some issue, especially if you're driving around in Batmobile. Yeah. God, that game, freaking at 2.8. That's what really kills me. That's how much they screwed up with that launch of that game. They were not ready to release that at all.
Not the PC version anyway. I think the port of that just went terribly awry. But
I still say Arkham Asylum's the best game out.
But even still, yeah. So if we look at the scores for the console version, even, I mean, an 87, I don't think it was that good. Like,
no, I honestly consider Night the weakest one out of all of them.
Oh, okay, for sure.
I'm gonna throw this out here. Arkham Asylum's the best one, followed by actually equal in terms of what they were, City and Origins, and then Night is the lowest one.
I didn't actually play through Origins, so I can't speak to that one. But City was a great open world type game. Like, I really enjoyed that, and Arkham Knight like had a couple of fun things that they added to it.
Went robotic on me.
Okay, yeah. We'll wait.
It was weird. To me, I liked Asylum more because this seemed like there was a lot more, like there was a little bit of an open area, but it wasn't the main focal point of it. Like going into the buildings themselves, very detailed and had all sorts of stuff in them. That was the cool part of it.
Well,
with City, it turned more into like there's a bigger area and a little bit less in terms of like going into buildings and stuff. Like again, perfect example of this. Compare the stealth sections to Asylum, and then compare the stealth sections of Night. Like most of the stealth sections in Night were out in the open. So literally, if you had issues, you could just fly away.
Yeah.
With Asylum, you couldn't do that. So it's like it became more combat oriented and not the stealth focus, which I felt was the stronger of the two, to me at least, in terms of being like Batman, you know?
Right. Yeah, it definitely was a lot easier for sure, and that's a good point about just being able to fly away. You couldn't do that in Asylum. I think that like Asylum and City though are almost two different games, because Asylum is like linear. I mean, it is a linear game, and so having all that extra detail, like
game.
Yeah, and like having well, I guess I say linear, but yeah, it's much more closed off Metroidvania. Like it's not an open world game.
No.
So the like details in corridors and things like that, and all the secrets that they had around to find, and the way that you found them in Asylum was
really cool.
It was really cool, but it was much more different than they would have been able to than they were able to do it in City, just because the style of game is different. So I agree with you. I think Asylum is my favorite of the franchise, but I always am going to like a Metroidvania type game more than an open world. But okay, that's a really good example, I think, of like the Batman 3. I don't think Arkham Knight deserved an 87, and I think it got that in large part because it was a part of the Arkham franchise.
Oh, thank you, Wallace. He says Marshall's deep voice sounds like Batman.
Nice.
Why, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm Batman. What you find over there, Batman? I found something. What'd you find? Evidence. Oh, you found evidence? Yes, I found evidence. Oh, we wouldn't have been able to find it without you. I'll analyze it with science. This a long pause. Harvey Dent. Can he be trusted?
I love it.
That was a Funny or Die video if you want to look that up. It's so good.
It's so good. I haven't seen it in so long, but it is good. Josh says you sound more like Dr. Claw from Inspector
Gadget. I can't do the Dr. Claw right now. I have a little bit of a sore throat, so like that's gonna just destroy me. Remind me, Josh, next podcast, and I'll do it. Okay.
Nice. What about Dark Souls 2?
Ooh. Let me go look that up right now. Dark Souls 2.
Because that's one that was definitely not loved by most of the fans. There's certainly a dedicated fan base to Dark Souls 2, and we think that might even be the best one. But I think in large part the players believe that Dark Souls 2 is the weakest of the three, or four, I guess, if you count Demon Souls.
All right, so this will be interesting because remember when Dark Souls 2 came out, that first gameplay trailer showed off all that cool stuff, including all the new lighting and all that stuff. And then when it released, it was magically gone.
None of that was there.
And all the like the lighting mechanics, like using your torch, which had a limited amount of time on it, it's like it's all gone now. Sorry, it's like defeats the purpose. So it's actually better than Dark Souls 1 Metascore. While Dark Souls numero uno had an 89, but the user score for Dark Souls 2 is a 7.9, which makes sense, honestly. Like that game felt really weird. That felt like
it did.
Everything was kind of cobbled together, and it's like, here you go, and it's like, remember the windmill poison area where you took then an elevator up, and then it's like, oh, you're in a bed of lava at a castle. It's like, how the hell did I get here? Like a lot of weird stuff like that. It's just like a bunch of mishmashy things that just didn't make sense. Yeah, but then you had the graphic downgrade, severely noticeable downgrade, and that kind of pissed off a lot of people. I don't know.
Yeah. Dark Souls 2 was
thinking about it, I'm going to look up Dark Souls 3 because I'm super curious to know how that worked. Dark Souls.
I like Dark Souls 3.
Yeah, roughly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty much in terms Metascore and user score, they're basically exactly the same. So a Metascore like 89 and user score of 8.9. Because then technically, according to Metacritic, Dark Souls 2 is the better scoring one out of all three, which is a little weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wallace says
never like Dark Souls 2 was the more mishmashy of them.
Wallace says never played Dark Souls, bought it, played it for 10 minutes, died 20 times, deinstalled it, and now it has 5 centimeters of dust on it.
Very much. Yeah. Then why I got so popular was because back in the day, during a time where it's like a game that's difficult, what's that? It's like, oh, okay. Awesome, cool. And that's why it became popular.
Yep, that was definitely the niche that it filled, and now it has its own genre that just is the Souls-like genre is a thing.
Yep, very much. Actually, this is just for me. because I've been playing the beta for it. On the original Warhammer End Times Vermintide for PC.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my dog is jumping on my back. How you doing, baby?
Puppy.
Actually, this is interesting. So, oh wait, no, that's the PS4 version. Don't look at that one. Okay, this makes more. Okay, so Vermintide, the original one on PC, got a score, user score 7.9. So yeah, makes sense.
What was the Vermintide?
It was a
what was the score?
79 and user score 7.9. They're basically exactly the same.
Oh yeah, the same. Okay.
And this was basically a slightly spin-off of like a Left 4 Dead type of style game set in the Warhammer universe, but developed by Fat Shark Studios. They're making it's going to be released on the 8th. You can get into the for it. Honestly, I think this game second one much fun. I'm so excited for it. But the first game, yeah, that makes sense why it's kind of roughly the same. It's like it was a budget game. This one's the sequel. You can get it for $30. You can pre-order it now for 26. Now it's a $30 game. 9 maps total, small maps, and like they had like a loot system, but it wasn't super in depth at first. So it was in time. So yeah, I guess that makes sense why. But it's an okay game. Crazy about it.
Oh god. Yeah.
Anything to add, Caleb?
No, I agree. The first one was all right. It was okay, but the what we've played so far, the second one is massively improved. So hopefully it's good.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I think this may be a good sleeper hit for this year, especially considering it's also going to be just for half price of a AAA game. So I'd say that's pretty good.
Yeah, that is. I always like to see that. You like to see that.
Nothing wrong with AA developers, you know.
AA, yeah.
I mean, isn't that what THQ Nordic is? That's what they're doing. They're just buying up everything right now. Like apparently they just bought up Deep Silver as a publisher, and like they're just eating up stuff. It's like cool. I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah, THQ Nordic is.
We need to fill that niche.
THQ is one of those studios that like they release stuff that I tend to like, but they aren't received super well. But like I appreciate what they're doing with it, and so I'm glad to see like THQ Nordic really even stepping out further and buying up a bunch of stuff. So yeah, I don't know if we hit the topic that we came into this trying to do, but we've talked about some discrepancies in biases for sure, and a lot of it seems like critics are more often to rate something higher, especially if it's a big name title, than what the player base actually believes it to be. Which is not anything groundbreaking, but the most interesting that we found was the discrepancy of which was the oh no, I forgot the game. Which game was it that was the 60
Mass Effect?
Well, Mass Effect 3, yeah, that was one that was way higher than it should have been.
Oh, Lords of Shadow 2?
But yeah, Lords of Shadow 2, that was it. Lords of Shadow 2 was really poorly received by critics because the first game was whatever, and I don't know, it falls into that time where it's not what the critics are all hot about at the time. It's not like the favorite genre of the year.
I don't think it sold well either, so yeah. I think that may have actually killed the studio as well. I can't remember the name. I think Mercury Steam, I think they were called.
Yeah, Mercury Steam.
I think they were a Spanish studio, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that did kill the studio. But anyway, interesting to kind of look at what critics think versus what users think. Always use your best judgment when you're going to buy a game. Don't pre-order things. Don't go off of one website's review. Do your research. Look for the users, because it's probably going to be a much more worthwhile review, like with anything else, if you go to the actual product users.
I will also state, like, in this day and age, you don't really need to worry about looking up reviews anymore because I mean we've got Twitch now, we've got YouTube. You can find a game that you were interested in being played at any point, and you're like you can get a pretty good idea of what it is and if you're going to like it just from people playing it. And if you don't like the one guy who's playing it, more than likely you can find someone else who's actually way better at it to get a better feel for how it's supposed to be played. And that's the one thing that everyone always makes fun of, game journalists, is that they suck at video games. So it's like anytime you see videos of them, it's like they're awful. It's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. But
true.
We've got the technology to be a better informed consumer. So yeah,
we have the technology.
We can make them better, stronger, faster.
But yeah, so that's gonna wrap up our podcast for the week. Thank you very much, XD, Wallace, Josh. Thanks guys for hanging out. It's been fun. We do this every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully Josh will be back next time, so it goes a little more smoothly, because I'm clearly not a good host for the podcast.
With all of our technical difficulties, yes, very much so.
I apologize. We do other random streaming and stuff on Twitch, which you can see down the link at the bottom here. We are Random Respawn on Twitch, and of course, follow us on Twitter for any updates. I post there occasionally. It's inconsistent, but I use it.
Please love me.
No. But anyway, thanks for hanging out, guys. We will see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Take care.